All right, it says we're recording, so I'll take its word for it. This is Thursday night, and I'm here with my first ever fantastic painter, actually, Nick Forkeotes. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Thank you.
Good, good, good. So, I've only just become familiar with your work and everything that you've got going on. You can see, of course, some of your paintings in the background there. How did you get started doing this, man?
um, to be honest, I was in rehab,
Okay.
doing a yoga instructor recommended an art therapy class.
Okay.
And recognized the way that I know this sounds really crazy, but she recognized the way that I painted this mountain scene, the strokes that I was taking, and the way that I laid the paint on the canvas.
Mhm.
She took me to the side after our class and she said, "You have something special. I don't know if you realize it yet, but please, when you leave, paint." You know, she didn't push me, but she said, "I see something in the way that you move your brush that it can be very inspiring." And I took it to heart. I'm clean. I'm fresh out of a 3 month bender of meth or 3 year bender of methamphetamines, and it was the first maybe real emotion I had. Someone, give me a little bit of hope in life, and um, that's where I started, man. And it's not been that long, not been that long at all.
Really? Well, were you interested in it kind of like beforehand? Did you ever think, hey, I'm going to be a painter?
Nope,
No?
not in the slightest. I can tell you, I got a vague memory of wearing a Starry Night T-shirt to my fifth grade class. I have pictures of it actually.
Okay.
I
That's
never
awesome.
would be a painter. It never crossed my mind, man. I've always excelled in sports,
Mhm.
um, and I never thought painting would be such an outlet until I was able to paint sober. I guess that's the best way to say it. When you're sober, you think things differently, you see the world differently, and for whatever reason, God put it on my heart when I was in rehab, and I really took it to heart, man. And I really dove in, and um, it saved my life. I'm not gonna lie, it's a life saving thing that I'm doing nowadays, and um, I'm excelling at a very rapid rate. I mean, it's
I
kind
would like I see you sometimes. What are you painting a day? Like I swear, and I only know from Facebook, but I think I sometimes see you put up like four paintings a day sometimes.
I do anywhere from seven to 10, sometimes 12. Um, Believe it or not, I can sit down and do a painting in 15 minutes. The black one right here is a 12-minute painting that I had this idea the other night. I came
See, now
home.
that's beautiful. That's gorgeous, dude.
I had this little idea in my head as I'm driving home about taping off and making it a double photo frame.
Mhm.
I literally did it in 12 minutes and posted it, and it's I can't even really explain it, man. I wish I could and make sense of it, but I do it so fast without thinking that it's almost a second nature at this point. It's not something I really stress about, concentrate on, or nothing of that nature.
Really,
It's
that's amazing.
it's kind of I had this conversation with my grandma today. It's kind of my little girl wants to say hi. Say
She
hi.
is more than welcome. What?
I know he has a big beard. Yes.
I
All right.
do, yeah, yeah, I do. That's awesome.
But
How old's your girl?
he's about to turn 6 here
Okay.
really soon. We went and seen Uncle Shannon, her papa today. Yep, Uncle Shannon. And paid some respects to them for Thanksgiving. Um,
That's good.
Obviously, my Uncle Shannon died many years ago. And my dad's been gone for a while now too. So it was another one of them experiences, man. That I got to experience that I've not had in almost 16 years. Please go lay down. Look at me. No, stop it. I'm not doing it. But
Mhm.
yes, it's been a very good day. So
That's a
it's cool, man. It's I had that conversation with my grandma today about um, there's a certain poem that Shannon sang way back in the day, and God has been putting some crazy things on my heart, and it's weird how people respond to things that you don't even know at the time, and then it's days later that someone tells you about a story that saved another young man's life over a poem that was sang by my uncle. That was discussed by me and my grandma, that was in turn given to a shirt to a young man that was an addict that is now clean and doing very well from the same poem that we just have been talking about in the last few days.
Wow.
Some crazy things have been inspiring. Life is very good, man. It's crazy. You know what I mean? I'm 36. I've been a drug addict for 16 years. I'm clean and sober now, going on 10 months, and I'm not too much silly. And I've never that real fast. Come on. Sorry about that. She's had a long day.
No, that's all good. I got 2 boys about her age, so I understand.
All the time, or she's not content with herself. So. Yeah, I never had no desire to paint. Never cared to paint. And now it's all I think about, man. It's crazy cool, and like I said in the beginning, it's really saved my life. It's more of an outlet now than anything. I mean, I wake up in the morning. It's my, a lot of people talk about your why in life, why you get up in the morning, what drives you.
Yeah.
I had to help my grandma move last week, and I knew. So I'm up at 5:30 in the morning with this crazy desire to paint and create. Knowing I have 2 hours before I have to leave, and I produced 3 amazing paintings in them 2 hours. Because I wake up with this crazy urge to create, and I am doing very well selling them. Don't get me wrong, but I don't care if I sell them or not. I post them, I paint them, I post them, I paint them, and I don't push it. I don't.
You honestly, you don't, like, seriously, you don't sit there and say this one's for sale. You're more of a guy that's kind of like, hey, look what I did, check it out, and then people are like, can I buy that? And you're like, oh shit, well, I guess so. Super humble, and so, like, I think that's why obviously I was drawn to you because my wife showed me this painting, and now my wife is the kind of person who doesn't buy herself fucking anything at all, and she's like, I have to buy this painting. I was like, yeah, buy it. And then she, of course, told a little bit about you and everything. Like, she's one of the biggest fans of your uncle that I've ever met in my life. His work means the world to her. And so I thought, well, how fucking special is that for her on a personal level, not just a whatever, but like as a truly deeply meaningful level for her to have this. And we'll be back for more for sure. Like I everything you see, I'm like, okay, well, I need that one, and I want that one, and I want that one.
So what's crazy to me is my progression level, and I talked to my grandma today about this. I gave her a painting as a gift today that I did a month out of rehab with a palette knife. The first one I did with a 100% palette knife, which is just a crazy looking tool that is flat metal piece of metal. So, but it turned out so good. I've actually tried to replicate it, and I can't. I don't know why. It's one of them things that I was by myself. I wasn't struggling, but I was definitely. I don't know if you know anything about drugs and rehab, but it's a very tough battle when it comes to your inner self. You know what I mean? The outside influences does play into it, but if you're not okay inside, man, it will take the smallest little thing to influence you to relapse or to give up or to fail. So I left that morning at 6:30. I went and watched the sunrise over a pond in Dayton, Indiana. I came back. I put my canvas up. And I did this painting in like 30 minutes.
Wow.
I took the tape off, and it's a picture in picture. I took the tape off and I looked at it, and I'm like, holy shit! You know what I mean? This is amazing for being so young and so new into the art world to produce a painting like of that caliber. That might have been the first real thought of I might be something special. You know what I mean? I might be able to do this on a regular basis. I've just recently quit my job. I'm becoming a full-time artist, which it's amazing, man. I've been doing it for 7 months, solid months. I'm to support my family. My little girl's in kindergarten now, so I was working second shift, and I never seen her. It's really been rough the past month.
Yeah.
So, I got involved with this church community here in Monticello where I stay now, and I really been praying about, what I can do differently to be more of a godly man when it comes to family and love. Obviously, I've always supported my kids and my family, but have I ever really been there? Being an addict, are you ever really there if you're not there?
Right.
And it really played on my heart recently. So I made some major sales over a 2-week period. I put some money back. I was able to get 3 months ahead on all my bills. And I took a leap of faith and I quit my job on good terms. Obviously, I can go back at any time. They definitely respected my decision and what I'm trying to do. But for being so young to the art world, I got a contract with allartworks.net.
Okay, so how does that work?
So they own the rights to the paintings that they select for me to ship to them, and then they put it on a internet-based gallery first, and then they do galleries 2 or 3 times a year in New York and some different states. But I was very hesitant. I had a lot of people in my ear talking about, if you do sign this contract, they own all your paintings. Well, I do very well on my own. I don't advertise, but I do very well selling paintings on my own. So I don't need the gallery to make their 40% selling my artwork. I can make my 100% doing it on my own. But the publicity of being in my artwork's in a rotation this week for a major gallery that it's by some $20,000-$30,000 paintings. It's a small little painting, but it's in rotation with some major artwork.
So then, do they price it at whatever they think you can get for it? They take their percentage, and then you get the rest.
So they asked me what I wanted from my painting. I sent 10 submissions. The guy from New York called me, and he asked for 10 different submissions, prices included, sizes, all that good stuff. So I sent him 10. He selected the smallest one, which I think is common when you first get into the art scene, and then the cheapest one. So once I got that submission, they sent the box to ship, the contract to sign, and then they didn't push the issue. I was kind of surprised. I was able to call a few times. I read the contract 3 times. I talked to a few people about it, and I called this guy back and I asked some major questions about not only copyright but the way that they are able to control my artwork if they do sell it. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So I feel like I've prepared myself for it's a year contract, and I don't have to ship anything else to them. That one piece can be the only thing I ship, and I can continue to do it on my own. I just can't sign with another gallery for a year.
Okay.
Which is okay. In my book, I don't need a gallery yet.
Yeah.
Maybe someday, but I'm doing well on my own, making 100% of my profits as opposed to 60%. And they frame it and take professional pictures and seal it and all that stuff. So they do go the extra mile. Don't get me wrong.
So that they take it maybe just a slight step further, but honestly, like your paintings are so good, dude, that like you said, you're doing fine without it, but it can't hurt.
Right.
It can't hurt anything.
Yeah,
well, that's excellent.
The publicity, I think, was the main thing that played on my decision to actually sign the contract, because I waited weeks, and the guy called me twice. I could tell they wanted me to do, they wanted me to make a decision. They were pushing the thing, and I don't know if they follow Facebook or any of my artwork at all. You know what I'm saying? But for the guy to call me twice and ask me if I'm ready to do it, what's my decision going to be, kind of led me to believe that they wanted me to do it more so than not.
Yeah.
So I took extra caution before I actually did it.
Yeah.
I do think it's gonna help. Don't get me wrong, but it's crazy, man. Because I've not been doing it that long, dude. I gotta reiterate that. I've really not been doing it that long, and I feel like I'm in the experimental phase. I don't know if you know Ryan Chase. He's a major artist out of I believe it's Kentucky. He does some gremlin artwork.
Okay.
Monster artwork, but shout out to Ryan. He's doing big things, and he's in recovery from alcohol and stuff, but he went through a lot of major ups and downs of failing before he ever learned to succeed. You know what I mean? And for doing 13 years, I don't know how he's doing for sales and all that stuff, but the the art world is, I thought it would be a grim place where people want to keep their ideas to themselves. It's very open. People are very free about ideas, ways of selling art. And I've only went down one venture, and that's Facebook. Honestly,
Yeah.
I'm not advertised, man. I'm not word of mouth.
Did you make your own? Did you make your own specific Facebook page, or just your personal?
It's Nick's Picks Are Us.
Interesting.
And I post in groups. Honestly,
Yeah.
3 or 4, sometimes 2. But on my personal page, I post almost every painting I do.
Right.
And sometimes, like you said, that's 3, 4, 5, 7 a day. And it's cool to see the progression over just a small period of time. It makes me wonder like I said, I'm 36. What it could have been had I discovered this talent when I was younger. I was very good in sports. I excelled easily in most things.
What was your sport of choice?
Basketball.
Yeah.
Basketball. I love basketball. Football was the next. I actually still have the high jump record at my middle school, going on 21 years.
Nice.
Kind of cool. My little girl, her cousin goes to Wainwright, or went to Wainwright, so they get to see my name up on the record board 21 years later. So
that's awesome.
It's kind of a cool thing, but the crazy part is, I think excelling in sports as a young man, it almost builds false hope if you don't make it, because then you're kind of lost when you don't make that big time. And I was very good. I excelled, almost like my Uncle Shannon. I mean, he had crazy records at McCutcheon, did good things in sports, and then I almost feel like he got lost after that lack of, not necessarily attention because he went big with music, but it gives you a false pretense of what the world's going to be, and it's not all that. You know what I'm saying? It's not everybody backing you with your normal life. If you're not excelling in sports, people don't give a shit.
That's right.
So, me being able to excel in artwork at such a short amount of time, it's honestly scared me. You know what I mean? It's been a bittersweet thing that I've learned to humble myself and not have expectations. Let's put it that way. And I do it for the love of creating, and that's really been it. The money's been great. Don't get me wrong, man. Cool thing to do, but gosh, without the creative outlet I have right now, I don't know where I'd be. I honestly.
Well, it's twofold for you, right? Because like you're saying, obviously you're in recovery, you're doing your thing, everything, but it's twofold, because I can tell that that's your passion to do it now, but it's replacing shit, I think. You know what I mean? But in a positive, more than healthy way, and thank friggin' goodness, because holy shit, dude, like that's no joke to have to go through rehab and everything like that and come out on the other side. And
and the stigma on individuals in addicts, and I get it, man. I've been there. So it's hard not to put a label on someone that hurts people they love. You know what I mean? It takes a bold individual to admit they're wrong, to admit they're a drug addict. It's such a scary step in life that I was in the dark. I was a functioning addict for 16 years. Raised my kids still, man. Had a good job. Always felt like I had it together, but never really had. It was such a false pretense of my well-being. So when I got clean, I'm almost living life brand new at 36, rediscovering ways of living. And finding painting was like finding a needle in the haystack. It's I've lost 3 people that I went to rehab with that have died from overdoses. There's 2 of us left, so it's a very real thing. Relapse happens. Man, I have no urge, no desire. You know what I mean? It's a godsend, man. That's the only way I can say it. It's without my spirituality and my belief in a higher power that's guiding me through my life right now, I don't know where I'd be. That's just being real talk. I've not struggled with drugs since I went. I've not had any relapses since I went. And then I got this paint thing going that almost propels me into, once you become an inspiration to people that are struggling, it makes it harder to fail. I mean, the more support you have in being a positive individual or a positive icon in life, it's not necessarily pressure, but it adds to the one to stay sober part.
That's I was going to ask. Do you feel pressure in any way?
Well, I don't know. I did one time. I did a commission painting. It was for a lot of money, and the guy gave me an open range of what to do for him, canvas size, and I got the biggest canvas I could find. And I stressed for 2 days over it. And my little 5-year-old come in one day and she's like, "Dad, what are you doing? Just paint. Just do it." You know what I mean? And I did it. But guys, looking back, I was telling the guy that purchased the painting, I'm like, I've been painting for 6 months and I've never had pressure until I had to perform. And that's all the aspect of enjoyment out of it. So I don't really do commissions now. I take ideas. I mean, I can turn an idea into something that my own making, but for someone to ask me to paint a palm tree, I won't ever do that again. You know what I mean? Because it takes away from my creative side. So I learned that quick, thank God. And I've not had any pressure since then. You know what I mean? I can do my own design in a little bit of time or as long as I want with no pressure. And, you know what I mean? If they decide to buy it, great. If they don't, that's okay too. You know what I mean?
Well, like you said, you're painting for you and you're painting to express yourself. And if people like it, great. If not, it's not going to stop you and it's not going to hold you back. Yeah. And I think that's what's the most appealing thing about it. You just kind of, like I said, it's kind of like, hey, check this out. Look at this. I'm proud of what I did here, and this is, and you don't have to feel like you're being boxed in, and like you said, doing these commissions and taking the fun out of it. So that's awesome, man.
It's a different way of. My grandma has a really good friend that went to art school, and she takes 3 months, 6 months to finish a painting, but the pressure she feels in those 3 to 6 months, she might sell for $5,000, $8,000, but with no enjoyment. I mean, what's the point when you don't enjoy anything that you're doing? If it's a job, there's no enjoyment in that, man. And I really pride myself on the fact that I did quit my job because I'm financially okay, but I don't sit down from 8 to 5 and focus on painting because it's not about the work. It's not about the money. I get to create whenever I want now, as opposed to only being, limited amount of days. I get to create 5 in the morning if I want till 10 at night.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I painted one picture today. I promised my little girl that I would only do one. I did one while she was sleeping, and I've only did one. It's been killing me. I'm not gonna lie, man.
You got get another one in before you go to bed. Yeah.
I'm thinking, I got constant ideas running through my head.
Where do the ideas come from for these?
Man, it's so crazy.
It just hit you, hey? It's just like bam, and then there it is.
Do it, man. I've tried to sit down and paint a picture with somebody that they've kind of described what they want, and it, in my opinion, looks very bad. But if you give me a couple of ideas of some colors, maybe throw a guitar silhouette in there or some abstract trees, just let me go to town. It's crazy, but I can do such an amazing job not focusing on the small details and just painting a picture to be painting a picture. Yeah. I mean, I'm an abstract artist that there's some days I literally take a canvas outside and throw some gosh dang paint at it. You know what I mean? Just because it's an emotional outlet. Life's not always sunshine and rainbows. You know what I'm saying? So you really got to find a way to channel inner emotion. And that's what a lot of recovery is. Learn how to, when you're using, you actively block out emotion. That's what you do. You run from everyday life. I get this outlet now where I don't have to run. I just have a different way of channeling it. I mean, I scribble on a canvas 6 to 10 times, different colors before I ever paint over it and make an actual picture. But the act of making a hard mark or a soft mark, if I'm feeling a certain type of way, it releases something inside of me. You know what I mean? So for me, it's a creative outlet that I've found that it allows me to not dwell on small emotions or propel such a small emotion into something that's major that will cause me to do something I don't want to do.
Right.
And had I found that years ago, would it be the same now? I don't know. You know what I mean? I really don't know that answer, but thank God I made the choice to do what I did when I did. And this teacher of mine seeing something in me I didn't see in myself for so long. You know what I mean? It used my whole perspective on and how I live my everyday life, and it's it's definitely a blessing, man. It's cool. And, you know, being related to Shannon, it has added some fuel to the fire. Don't get me wrong. I mean, his fame is definitely, it's so weird, man. I felt guilty for so long. I didn't share with any people at all that my uncle was Shannon Hoon, because I had this inner guilt that that's his fame. You know what I mean? He worked hard for that, which is, I respect that to the T, but I kept it secret. Select amount of people knew. I didn't even like talking about it at all. Mm-hmm. My grandma a couple weeks ago, she's like, you know, Shannon didn't just do it for him, he did it for the whole family. And, you know, you need to be able to respect what he went through to get to where he was.
Right.
If it helps you sell paintings, by all means, do it. He would be so proud. Your dad would be so proud. You know, people are hating on me now for doing it, but
I was gonna talk to you about that a little bit. I see these fucking guys on Facebook that when you're in the blind melon groups and stuff, and you're sharing your pictures and shit, and they're like just jumping all over you for doing it, and I'm like, don't they know who the fuck you are? Like, if anybody has rights to do that, it would be you. Like, you know what I mean?
And I try to stay out of the drama, man, because
yeah, for sure. You don't want to get involved in it, but and you take it on. You know, you take it on the chin. You're a lot more gracious than I would be. I'd say, look, you know who the fuck. You know who I am. Like, fuck you.
Make some posts. You know what I'm saying? But I felt bad for him. Let's put it that way. I felt worse for the people that have said something not knowing than had I made a post. You know, trying to prove my side. I don't feel like I need to prove my side.
No.
At all. You know what I mean? It's another part of being in a humble spot in my life. I'm able to let it go off my shoulder, and you know, I wish they would recognize why I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying? I wish they'd see your picture. Yeah. But I take the money side out of it, man, because I would still paint, I would still post. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely a bonus. Don't get me wrong. I'm very gracious, I'm very humble to be able to sell paintings like I do, but if they stopped selling, they didn't sell in the beginning of the month, I was still paying. Still an outlet of creativity that I've been blessed with, that keeps me sober one way or another, and that's what I don't think people get. So for me, posting paintings in Blind Mountain pages, you know, Tim Fast said something the other day about the change song. You know what I mean? My uncle said about change, and then don't paint it, and you know, his words being prophetic or whatever you pronounce it. And it really hit me, man. That was a very touching thing that he said. That you know, my uncle died when I was very young, so I had a couple Christmases I remember, and you know, that's kind of the memories that I have. So it's, gosh, I can't imagine what life would be, you know, had he survived the rock scene and found something that he was able to, you know, obviously music didn't do it like everybody thought it did.
Well, you know, and you think, you know, you talk about, you're talking about how if you were doing painting and like that was your job and taking the joy of everything, I think maybe these professional musicians, you know, when I talk to musicians at every level a lot, but you know, I want to branch out, and certainly I thank you again for wanting to do this, but I just feel like the number one factor I think that I hear is that it's not about the money, it's about the music. And if it starts, or art or anything like that, and if your passion starts to be replaced by a need to like do something as your job, that can become almost like a prison, I would imagine.
Yep. Yeah, because it's something that in a release that you are forced to be released when it's probably not ready to be released. You know what I'm saying? I talked to my grandma when I first come back, and you know, me and my, we've had our ups and downs. Obviously, when I was in active drug use, I stayed away from the family, you know, for many reasons. But now that I'm sober, you know, I miss that family aspect, and I was very close to my grandma when I was young. You know, she, you know, helped me in sports. I mean, so many things when I was young. We had such a close relationship. And then lost Shannon, and I lost herself for a long time. I mean, thank God for Blind Mountain fans that have loved her like she's. I mean, I can't imagine losing my kid, man. So, you know, I mean, I've had so many harsh feelings towards a lot of things in life, and sitting here sober, I'm able to talk about it. That, I mean, praise God she got through it with the help of Blind Melon fans and the love of people that have so much love for Shannon, because gosh, I don't think she would have made it without them people reaching out to her, man. I don't think she would have known which direction to go in life. And I just, we got this relationship now, but I was talking to her about Shannon getting big so fast. So, you know, he excelled in sports at a young age. He was very humble. You know, he's a black belt in karate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, excelled in everything he did. He got to do something he loved, and then it became a job, like you just said. It became something that he had to do as opposed to enjoyed doing. And I think that really took a toll on how he was seeing himself and the world. And the world's a cruel ass place, man. It's a horrible place.
Fucking is. Yeah.
Times when you're expected to perform at such a high level.
Well, and you know, you don't get to have when you're put on the pedestal like that, and you're just a person, right? You don't get to have bad days. You know, you can't when you're in that spotlight like that.
Yep. I seen a video the other day where he was he was warming up before an interview, and he kept telling people to get out. You know, he's warming up. And the guy brings the camera in for the fourth time, and he goes over and slams the damn door and says, "It's not about fucking you. I need my privacy before I do this." You know what I mean? And it was a part of being big that people don't see. You know what I mean? All I can say, video is out. I've not seen it. I don't want to see it. But I can't imagine the pressure that you feel when you're made to perform. And succeed or not succeed, the pressure's still there one way or another, man. And I mean, and I had that conversation with my grandma, and I just think the pressure got to be too much to where the outlet of creating art, creating the love of music was no longer an outlet. It was a burden. I really feel that it became a burden that he had to perform nonstop or make people, you know, listen to his music, you know.
Mm-hmm. The record contracts and shit like that, saying like, look, I know you just came out here, you know, you're fucking, these guys get these tour cycles and they'll go tour for a year, back in the studio, back, you know, they want their money, they want their investment back and shit like that, and they don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck about what they put the artist, the person through to get that.
100%. So I mean, I really feel like, you know, had things been different for Shannon, and maybe it didn't pass, you know, I mean, because obviously No Rain propelled them way up into the, you know, the category of big time bands at the time. Had that not blown up so quick, and it was kind of a gradual thing, you know, I think he would have gradually got to work himself into being famous, and the hoopla around it and the publicity, the admiration. But instead, it was propelled almost instantly with No Rain, and then it just kind of blew up, and then it was a have to perform. You know what I mean? So he never got the chance to.
He didn't get the chance to settle into it, right? He was just kind of, there you go.
Like, do this, and then you have a choice. You know what I mean? And then I interview, you know, people are saying this is Shannon, this is you got this is something that you need to be doing. You know what I mean? People are paying you to do this or paying you to do that. You're here for an interview. You need to be out here interviewing, not warming up. You know what I mean? It's no longer time to warm up, and he didn't see it that way. So it's like doing a commission painting, man. I put so much pressure on myself to have to perform when in reality, the guy already paid me the money to do the painting. All he wanted me to do was paint it for him, you know, in the style that I do and the way that I do it. And my 5-year-old seen that before I did. That's what the crazy part. You know what I mean? When she said, "Dad, just do it," something clicked, and I did the painting in 45 minutes. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
45 minutes, a $1,500 commission. And I stressed for 2 days over it, not thinking I was good enough, putting whatever pressure on myself before my 5-year-old reassured me that it wasn't about what I was about to paint, it was how I was going to paint it. And I was able to do it in 45 minutes. And the guy loved it, and it's in the condo in Florida. And I'm very happy that I had the experience, but I don't want that pressure. You know what I mean? I don't want that pressure.
Yeah. Just unnecessary pressure on yourself. I'm sure, you know, he would have been happy either way. Like you said, he just wanted you to paint it.
I mean, it was a kind of a coincidence. He'd seen my artwork anyway in the first place, you know what I'm saying? So it was a very cool experience. And I've been reading that some artists, it takes years to even get recognized. You know what I mean? To even start selling paintings, it's definitely a gallery. So for all this to happen within a short 6 month, 7 month period, I'm very cautious. I guess best way to say it. I don't want to.
Cautiously optimistic.
Yes, I have no doubt that I'm able to paint decent pictures, good pictures at times, but it's more about it's more about enjoying doing it. So, the more pressure I feel, the more I back off of wanting to perform and just get back into just doing it for me. And while I do post all my pictures, don't get me wrong, there's some days I'll sit and just think about, different aspects of what people see. And one crazy thing is one person might see my painting as something amazing. Another person might see it as a dark emotion that led me to do certain things in that painting that they're driven to buy that artwork from me for. But in all reality, it might be all them things bothered into one. It's just different people see it in different ways. So the more I learn that it's more about the way I create. And I really believe this. The way I create artwork is what sells my paintings. It's not necessarily what I paint. Yes, the Hooten label sells some of my artwork to my known fans, but I was selling palm trees to people in Florida before I ever sold a Hooten painting. You know what I'm saying? Just from the inside, the way I do it, and I try to stick to something that is emotionally fed. I guess if that makes sense. I might dwell on certain aspects of life, or reminisce on memories that I wish I had more of because on drugs, and then I take that inner emotion and I drive it into a canvas, or I use a marker and I scribble the shit out of a canvas before I ever throw some paint on there. No one sees that side of it, but for some reason they can see the marks after all that's done, and it still sells.
Right.
This is a Shannon that my grandma Nell gave my little girl. She wants me to show you before her bedtime here.
Oh,
This is their little.
Beautiful.
All right, put it back on the printer. All right, good girl. Okay, we're almost done, Kay. Hey. Please go pay. But yeah, man, it's been very cool, and I'm ecstatic about it, man. It's a different kind of life. I don't have to hide my drug use. I'm openly discuss it multiple times a day with people because it's something that's made me who I am now. It's not something that I run from. I 100% believe in God. I believe in spirituality side of God, that relationship, that personal relationship. Yes, church is great. I do go to church, but if I'm not spiritually involved with my higher power, then I'm failing before I ever even step foot in the church. So I'm definitely in touch with some inner things that I got going on. But I'm learning that every day, man. It's really it's a drive to want to be better internally. The external things are great, but it's the internal side of me that gets better and better each day.
That's the most important part.
Whether I sell a painting or not, it's really irrelevant, man. And that's what I really wanted to reiterate. I really don't care if I sell paintings. Don't get me wrong, it's great. I will work 8 to 5, and I will still create one way or another. The fact that I'm able to sell them is such a bonus, man. It allows me to continue to do something I really, really love doing without having to perform. And I think that's where people. I was reading an article the other day. Most artists they suffer from depression because they lack the self-knowledge of knowing who they are before they create. I was blessed to find myself in rehab before I ever started creating. So it's so different from me. And I had this conversation with my girlfriend the other day. If I suffered from depression, would I still produce the same art? Would I still be able to think the same things or make the same strokes on a canvas if I wasn't, thinking clear or, emotional driven artwork? Would it be the same? I don't know, but there's certain things about artists that there's that stigma of depression, comes with artists. For whatever reason, whether it's music or painting, there's a certain amount of depression that's led on with that, and that's where artists get that writer's block or artist block, where you get stuck for so long because you're not at inner peace before you create. So I got the ability to do that inner thing before I ever started to create. So
That's right.
It's really been a godsend, man. It's crazy. It's been awesome. I'm not gonna lie.
It's been awesome. It sounds like it's been awesome for you, man. I'm happy for you. You got some good stuff, dude. Like we're already picking out which ones we want next. Like I said, we'll get it.
It's awesome, isn't it? I mean, I've shipped to 23 states in 7.5 months, 2 to
Wow.
Canada. Now.
Well, we're happy to be the one to Canada. So there you go.
And I got a gallery thing going. And all in a short amount of time, man. And it's been an experience that I've got to actually experience. You know what I mean? That's the cool part. It's not been something that it's just happened to me. I mean, I've
That's right.
been sober during.
You're present and you're
Yeah.
here and you're able to
I mean, I don't
fully feel it and everything.
with my paintings. I just create, and you know, I mean, I answer every response I get from people asking about it on Messenger. You know, I've multiple conversations with multiple people multiple times about certain pieces that they buy. Um, I mean, I'm very involved with people that are supporting me, man, because it's saved my life, and it's very cool that people, you know, want to contribute to something that is so, you know, so inner me. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like Shannon creating music. You know, people love Shannon for the way he sang and the songs that he sang, the lyrics that he sang. If he would have only got to really feel that outside love, you know what I mean, I think it would have changed his whole perspective on how he had to perform. I mean, if he would have known that love was there before he ever had to perform, you know what I mean, he could be here today talking about this, my painting shit with us, you know what I mean? So, yes, it's very cool. It's, you know, very humbling to be able to sit and have conversations about my artwork for hours a day with people I don't really know that seen a piece that touched them because of a certain way I put you know, an abstract painting onto a guitar that, you know, it touched them in a certain
I
way.
love those, man. The guitar ones are some of my favorite, but you know, that like that black and white one behind you and the one you got framed up there. When I saw those, I was like, holy crap, it's good, dude. Like it's beautiful work.
I had a girl in California that bought a wave abstract from me when I first got started, and she just recently got another abstract guitar for Jimmy Limback, who's a part of the Live Fighters group, and she's like, I don't know if you realize how good you are, Nick, and I don't. I know I can paint, I know I can produce a good picture, but I don't think I really grasped how well some of these are turning out from an artist standpoint, because to me it's just me creating. It's not really me creating for myself or for, you know, there's not something going on my wall, so I don't see it the same with someone else that's buying it because of a great piece of art. So it's,
Right.
you know, I mean, I'm still the humble stage of, maybe it's naive a little bit, I mean, but it allows me to just create, and I think that's the main thing. You know, I want to get across here is that I'm not. I know I'm good, man, but I don't want to just be good. I want to be able to create, and my creations become great just because I enjoy creating, because it's something I love to do, not because I want to create to get better. You know, I think the more I enjoy creating, the better I'll get regardless.
That's right.
And that's the awesome part about it. Um, I don't feel the pressure. I love to create. I've done some crazy stuff, I'm not gonna lie. That wasn't so great that I still posted because it was something that I just enjoyed doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's the cool part about how this whole journey is going. And then you you throw in the, you know, the mix of recovery and the inspiration I'm giving to people, and it's, you know, it's almost like the building blocks of success from a standpoint from, I mean, the recovery was one thing, and the recovery turned to the artwork, from the artwork turned to support from around the world, and then it's almost like a bridge that just keeps building and building and building. And all I'm doing is the same thing was doing from the very beginning. And for whatever reason, you know, people are seeing differences in, you know, my acceleration rate has been crazy. And, I mean, it's not, I don't want to say it's a driving force, but it definitely, it helps keep me clean, man. It saved my life on a day-to-day basis. At some point, I create knowing that if I don't release this emotion I'm having towards a certain thing, or, I mean, I don't have cravings or of that nature. So I don't want to say it's going to keep me from using, but I definitely know that if I don't control my emotions on a inner standpoint, I will eventually let them build up to where I fall. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think I need some other outlet, drugs to get me through that day. And I'm not been to that point since I left rehab. I mean, I'm not any desires, no urges. You know what I mean? No reason to ever want to go back to something that took so much from me for so many years that I didn't even realize it. So, I mean, it's definitely been a godsend.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy for you, dude. You got it. You got it. Great work. You're a hell of a guy. Hell of a story, Nick.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, buddy. Appreciate
I
it.
appreciate you taking the time talking to me. I'll let you get on with your evening. Hope you guys have a good rest of your Thanksgiving holiday, and I look forward to seeing some more paintings you got coming up.
Thank you so much for having me, man. I appreciate it very much.
I'll talk to you again anytime, buddy.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Take care.